What's up, YouTube? I'm finally back. It's been about a month or so. The reason why I've been so absent is because my computer stopped uploading my videos, and I think I found out why. A lot of my videos was longer than 15 minutes, and my computer, my setting is set to 15 minutes, and I don't want to change that. So, I just now figured that out, so hopefully this video will be up on YouTube. And if it is up, and as long as I'm not having any issues uploading, I'm back on YouTube for good. Anyways, this is my Chainburn deck profile. This deck has won me a lot of games and won me a lot of tournaments and taught me at a lot of tournaments. And I'm definitely going to take this deck to regionals, because I took it to regionals a few months ago. I didn't do too good, but this next regionals I'm taking it to, that's going to be here in Tennessee, I believe September the 9th, I believe, at my local mall. I'm definitely going to take this to that tournament. So if you see a guy named Johnny there, and he's playing Chainburn, just say, and if you've seen my YouTube video, just come up to me and say hi. But I will be playing this deck. Anyways, let's get right into it. 1 Max E, because it's the best monster in the game. And it's definitely probably going to get banned on the next ban list. But if you guys don't know what it does, you can discard this card from your hand and draw a card each time your opponent would special summon a monster. You can see why, with Zodiacs being the primarily best deck of this format, why this card is so good. Triple Swift. I run this over Battle Fader. I don't run Battle Fader. The reason why is Battle Fader can be stopped by certain cards that doesn't allow special summoning. Swift gets around that. The only thing Swift doesn't get around is Masterpiece, but Masterpiece is just hard to get around anyways. But Swift, if you don't know what it does, it's the same thing as Maxi pretty much. You discard it to the grave and it ends the battle phase. So it's pretty much a hand trap that's a Waboku. Next off, Triple Card D. This could also be Card of Demise if you have them, but I don't have them. But run this if you don't have Demise. Anyways, you normal summon, you contribute him, draw 2 cards, and end your turn. Surprisingly, this card does not get ashed a lot, which I am surprised myself from playing this deck for so long. Now on to the spells. Triple Pot of Duality. I've seen some decks run 2. I've seen some decks run 3. I'm with the one that runs 3. I really like 3 Duality. It lets you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose one of them, add them to your hand, and then the rest gets shuffled. And I know the downside is you can't special summon, but come on, you're playing Chainburn. You're not special summoning anyway, so it's not even a downside to you. 1 day apiece. I took this out at the last regionals I went to, which was a few months ago, and I didn't do that good. So I put it back in. Ever since I put it back in, this deck has been really, really good, and it's been winning me so many times, it's not even funny. But anyways, both players draw 1 card, and neither player takes any damage at all. So my advice to you is play this card when you don't have anything set, and definitely play this card whenever you're trying to buy some time. The reason why, if you play this card while you have some stuff set, your opponent can Twin Twister, and you won't be able to burn them for nothing because of its effect. Final 2 Chain Strikes. Chain Strike's really good. It does 400 damage for each chain you build up. If you guys don't know what a chain is, don't play this deck. But I'm pretty sure most players know what a chain are. Ojama Trio, I want to take this out because Lynx, it's not really that good in Lynx, but if your opponent doesn't run Lynx, like I've noticed this deck hurts True King players a lot, and I know because I play True King and I hate when this happens to me. But definitely at least side this card until further notice. This card is still good. If you guys don't know what it does, it gives your opponent 3 tokens, and they can't be tributed. Whenever they're destroyed, you take 300 damage. Again, if Lynx start to become crazy good, like every deck is a Link deck that's in the meta, definitely take that out. But as of now, I think it's good to be in. 3 Just Desserts. Just Desserts deals 500 burn damage for each monster your opponent controls. It works really well with Trio. Wow, my speech messed up there. You guys probably heard that. Triple Secret Barrel. Secret Barrel is 200 damage for each card on the board and in your opponent's hand. This gets up to about 16 to 2k. It's really good, and I've won a lot of games just off of this card alone. This card is real funny. If I had to pick an MVP, it would probably be this card, because this card is just stupid. Whenever it's destroyed by an opponent's card effect, your opponent takes 1,000 damage. So if your opponent was like Twin Twister and they hit this card, you can then chain this card. They'll take 1,000 damage plus 300 damage for each card on their board. The most damage I think I've ever gotten out with this card is like 3,300 or 4,300, something like that. And this card also wins me so many games. I had a Blue Eyes player call me a troll one day because of me winning with this card. So you will get called some names, but it's funny watching that go off. 2 Seas Fire, it's not as good as it used to be in the heyday, but it's still a must-run card. It's pretty much just desserts, but it only burns for effect monsters. 2 Balance. The other one's in the side once we get to the side. The reason why I only run 2 is when I went to the regionals, I ran 3, and I kept seeing this card way too many times when I didn't want to see it. Now that I put it at 2, the card is really, really good, and this is another card that I feel like is a must-run card in this deck. Anyways, the combined guards in your hand and on your board, minus the combined cards on your opponent's board, you draw. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, like this. Let's say your opponent has like something like this, and let me get this. And let's say your opponent has something like, let's say they're playing Zodiac. Yeah, this will be a good example. Say they're playing something like a Zodiac like this, and your opponent has like 5 cards. You have this card set and a card in hand. When you activate this, you'll draw 3 cards because you have 2 cards combined and your opponent has 5 cards. So you'll be drawing 2 cards, if you guys get what I'm saying there. If you don't, just ask like one of your local players or ask like a local judge and they'll show you how to play it. But it's not that hard. 1 Ring of Destruction. This is another card that has won me a lot of games, especially in matchups up against True Draco when they're stupid and don't tribute traps. This really hurts them because I've won games off of this up against Blue Eyes players. This card is really good up against big beater decks. And I feel like this card is an underdog. Of course, it's errata, so you can't beat your opponent with it anymore, but it's still a really good card for pushing for game. And if you guys don't know what Ring of Destruction does, just don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Just don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! If you don't know what that card does. That card is so iconic. Alright, I'm not going to be mean. Pretty much you tribute an opponent's monster, and both you and your opponent takes damage equal to that opponent's attack. And again, it's errated, so you can't use its effect if it was to game somebody, which sucks. 3 Reckless Greed. Reckless Greed is really good because it lets you draw 2 cards. The only downside is you skip your next 2 draw phases, but I normally tend to set 2 at a time, or I normally tend to activate one while I know I have another one set, and see if my opponent has any chains to anything, and if they do, then I'll activate the other one. So it's not that bad to skip the 2 draw phases. Next up, on to the battle traps. 3 Waboku, 1 Threatening. You guys might be wondering why I'm not doing 2 Threatening and 2 Waboku. The reason why is up with the next cards that I'm talking about, with the 3-dimension wall and then the Magic Cylinder. You can't just go Magic Cylinder on an opponent's attack, and if they've got game, then activate Threatening Roar, because Threatening Roar has to be activated before your opponent's battle phase hits. That's the reason why I only run 1 Threatening Roar. And the 3 Waboku, you could do something like this, like set a Magic Cylinder, and then Waboku so they can't hit you. It's really good for racking up burn damage. And another tip for you guys is, if they tribute a trap with Masterpiece, Waboku, Threatening, they get around Masterpiece, and D-Walk gets around Masterpiece. The reason why is they affect the player and not the monster. But Magic Cylinder does not get around Masterpiece, for those of you guys. So you might want to side out a Magic Cylinder and then side in a Threatening Roar if you're going up against a True Draco player. And that's it for the main deck. 40 cards. On to the side deck. 1 Denka Sekka. You guys are probably like, what? Is this guy on something? Why is he siding Denka Sekka in a burn deck? Hear me out here. The reason why I'm doing this is you can't even tell how many times I've faced another chain burn player. If you face another chain burn player, you win the game because the other chain burn player they expect to hit into their Ojama Trio before you. But what they don't even know is you're siding in a Sekka. And Danka Seka, you guys know. With this is the new Genzo. I hate this card so much, so it's like, I'll decide this card. The only reason why I run this card is, of course, the mirror match. I don't want to lose to the mirror match. It's really good. 2 Lava Golem. I had to cut it down to 2 for another thing I cited. The reason why I don't main them is because I used to run them in the main, and if you top deck this card, it's not fun to top deck this card. You really want to open up with this card. So it's really a dead card after turn 2 or turn 3. That's the reason why I side it now. And I side 1 Gamma Seal. The reason why is if your opponent is smart and they side in a Danka and they set on the Danko, you can just Kaiju the Danko, and you can't Lava Golem the Danko unless they're a stupid player and they summon something else. But that's the main reason why I run the Gamma Seal. You can run any Kaiju, really. I mean, I guess Dogoran would be a bit better, or Jizakuri, because he has more attack, so when they attack, the D-Wall hits more, but it doesn't really matter. 2 MST. The reason why I don't run Cosmic Cyclone, you don't want to pay the 1,000 just to get rid of, like, a Royal Decree. You don't want to run Twin Twisters because your hand is valuable, so MST is the best choice. 1 Contract. To put it simple, both players take 1,000 damage, both players draw 1 card. The other effect doesn't really matter. You guys can read the full thing, though. Okay, but yeah, the other effect doesn't really matter. It's just the draw effect is the main thing you want. The 1 Balance, because I don't main 3. 1 Curse. You can run the 2nd Curse if you want, but I took the 2nd Curse out, but you can run 2 Curse. Curse is good up against Pendulum decks, and it's also pretty good up against True Draco, because it forces the True Draco player to pop your Curse. Ooh. Wow. I almost popped my phone out of my hand. Pretty much, it forces the True Draco player to pop the Curse, because they don't want something that's dealing 1,000 damage to them each time they activate a spell. 3 Accumulative, because I don't main them. The 2 Threatening, because, of course, if you face something like True Draco. And then the Royal Decree, same reason as Danka. Pretty much for the mirror match. Whoa, I think my phone screen's... My bad, guys. When I popped my phone out of my hand, it must have lowered the brightness. Anyways, guys, that was my Chamber and deck profile. If you guys want any other decks, let me know. If you guys want, like, X-Sabers from 2010, Infernities from 2010, any wind-up deck... Well, any deck from 2012, I pretty much have them all done. If you guys want to see any more GOAT decks, I have so many GOAT decks, it's not even funny. I can bring you guys another GOAT deck. If you guys want to see Zoo for current format, I can bring that. Just let you know I don't have the GoFus or the Link Spiders yet, but other than that, I have everything for Zoo. And that's it, guys. I'm happy to be back. This is the only Big Green Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Johnny. If you hated the video, dislike it, and if you don't like my channel, unsubscribe. I'm signing out.